Hello, raw food rehabbers. It is Penny, and I am back in Tulsa, Oklahoma with you today on day 2, week 4 of the raw food rehab experiment. I can't believe we're already into week 4. It stresses me out just a little bit, because that means I've got to get really seriously cranking on this book, but we'll talk more about that later in the week. What I wanted to talk about today is not the fact that a lot of us didn't really do that well on our weigh-in this week, because week 3 weigh-in, I just had a feeling it was not going to be that great for a lot of us, because we've gotten over the initial excitement of starting a new program, and we've fallen back into some of our old patterns, or we've just hit a plateau. Maybe it's time to change some things up, but again, we'll talk more about that as the week unfolds. But today I wanted to talk to you about the food at the Raw Union wedding reception in Oregon this weekend. And I obviously don't want to give too much away, because I'm going to be writing a full-on article in the July issue of RawFu magazine with all the details. But, a lot of people have already posted pictures online. I've seen them from a ton of people of the actual platter of food that was served at the wedding reception. And I just wanted to tell you what was on that plate. I'll tell you a little bit about it. There was this curry broccoli dish that was called De La Mama. And it is a dish that it was originally created by Chef Ito, which is a chef at a restaurant, a raw food restaurant in California called Olac. It's A-U, capital L-A-C, if you want to look it up. But that dish was probably one of my favorites. So it's basically, they just took broccoli, they sliced up some coconut meat and tossed that in a sauce that was made from macadamia nuts, cashews, coconut butter, sun-dried tomatoes, dates, thyme, cilantro, lemon juice, garlic, curry, and sea salt. So it was this kind of creamy curry type dressing. And I actually think there was zucchini, some strips of zucchini, as well as the broccoli and the coconut meat. And it just was a great dish. They also had as a side, one of the main courses, it was a sea tangle or kelp noodle salad with zucchini noodles and green cabbage shredded finely. And it was tossed in this really delicate mint sauce that had jungle peanuts in it. And it reminded me a lot of a Vietnamese dish that I'd had before. If you've ever had bông chai ao, I don't know if that's how you say it, but it's that same kind of sauce that is on that dish. And so you'll see that little noodle dish with the jungle peanuts. I had never had jungle peanuts before, and they do taste milder than a peanut, and I found them to be really delicious. And I know you can order those online, and they're totally organic. There was also this absolutely delicious flax cracker, and I've been chasing after a good flax cracker recipe ever since I've been raw for the last 4 years, and this is probably one of the best crackers. I mean, it was really crisp, and it was really delicious. And what was in that, I don't have the amounts, obviously, but it was a blend of celery, chia seeds, flax seeds, red onion, spices, sun-dried tomatoes, and a pinch of cayenne. And I really didn't taste the spice in it. There was probably a little bit of sea salt in it as well. And so you had this cracker, and then there were 2 little scoops of seed cheese. And the first seed cheese was made with almond and blended with some herbs, and the other one was a sunflower pate seed cheese. And they were both just delicious, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to get the ingredients for those and publish that in RawFu this coming issue. And then they had this, they were calling them onion rings, but basically they just shredded all these red onions, and they had mixed in sesame seeds, orange juice, salt, and water, and it sort of made like what would almost be like a tahini. It was thick, though, and they just tossed all these onions and laid them out on dehydrator trays on Teflon sheets, and then dehydrated them, and then just broke them all apart and just sort of tossed that in with the Caesar salad that they made, which the Caesar salad was just a standard romaine lettuce with these most luscious sunflower sprouts and Peruvian olives, which I loved them. The dressing was a blend of tahini, cilantro, garlic, lemon juice, curry, cayenne, and water, and it was just all tossed in. and those onion rings were mixed in there instead of croutons. Oh my gosh, it was so good. What they served for our beverage was just these big ball jars with cold spring water that had these big, huge mint sprigs in them. And, I mean, it was just so refreshing. And they would serve that in wine glasses. And then once we got started with the dinner, and the dinner was served to us by the volunteer staff, which were amazing. And Kathy Silvers, I think is her name, she and her partner ran a chocolate elixir bar through the evening. And it was 5 different types of chocolate drinks, you know, made with cacao nibs or maca. Some had cayenne. I mean, you could choose what you wanted, but I'm not really that big into cacao, but I've kind of gotten more into it lately, just little bits like in a drink. And I have to tell you, it wasn't very sweet, but it was just very satisfying. It was almost chewy, and that was probably either hemp seeds were blended in or something, but it was just really great. And then I'm not going to tell you about the wedding cake at all. There were 2 cakes, the bride's cake and 2 groom's cakes, totally raw. A chef came up from one of the Cafe Gratitudes in, I think, San Rafael, and I interviewed her. But anyway, these cakes were to die for, and we will have full coverage on what the cakes looked like and also what the ingredients were in the cakes in the July issue of RawFu. But I can share with you that my personal favorite dessert was the coconut cream pie. And it's actually a recipe from the I Am Grateful Cafe Gratitude cookbook, and I'm going to actually post that recipe. If you like coconut cream pie, or even if you don't think you like it, you'll like this pie. I mean, it's so absolutely delicious, and it's one of those things that you need to make it and share it with your friends, because they might not think they want to be into raw food, but if they taste this pie, they will immediately become interested in raw food, I can promise you. So that was the dessert that I enjoyed. I had a phenomenal time. I've already posted a lot of pictures on the website and on my blog, but I'm just sort of coming out of the euphoria of, it was a fairy tale wedding. I said it was a Disney movie come to life. And even though there was a lot of interesting facets to the wedding that maybe I didn't fully understand or know about, there was no denying the fact that the union was so rich and so filled with love, and I mean, you could literally feel it in the air, and everyone that was there was so supportive. And I mean, it's just, I feel so blessed to have been part of such an amazingly beautiful weekend, and I'm now in love with Oregon. And I don't know when I'll be back, but I know I will go back because it was so great. But I'm so delighted to be back with all of you all, recharging today, and tomorrow I'll be back in the saddle with some new inspiring information, hopefully. And until then, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Bye.